Hello and welcome. Tonight, Nigeria commits to eliminating methane release from oil and gas, plans rollout of 100 electric buses to modernize its transportation systems, the president declares at the ongoing COP28 summit in Dubai. Court of Appeal sitting in Lagos upholds the victory of Dr. Alex Otti in the March 18th governorship election in Abia State, dismisses PDP and APC's appeals as lacking in merit. Senate and House of Representatives to hold joint sittings for consideration and defense of the 2024 appropriation bill to speed up the process and beat the December 31st deadline. And Israel's renewed bombardment of Gaza continues for a second day. A resident in the southern part of the Gaza Strip has experienced its heaviest bombardment since the start of the war. On business news tonight, the National Agricultural Land Development Authority and its partners commenced the harvesting and bagging of rice and maize in Niger, Nasarawa, Benue, and Oyo states.
And on sports news tonight, Germany wins Under-17 World Cup after beating France 4-3 on penalties, and the finals played in Indonesia.
We start outside the shores of the country from the ongoing climate conference in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, where the president has declared that Nigeria is committed to eliminating oil and gas releases of methane as part of a global plan to rein in emissions that contribute to climate change. Our President Bola Tinubu stated this at a world leaders event that focused on methane and other non-CO2 greenhouse gases at the ongoing United Nations Climate Conference. Methane tends to leak into the atmosphere undetected from drill sites, gas pipelines, and other oil and gas equipment, and has more warming potential than carbon dioxide. President Bola Tinubu was joined by COP28 President Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber, China's climate change envoy Mr. Xi Jinping, and U.S. climate envoy Mr. John Kerry.
We are committed to critical steps to reduce methane emission by ensuring flared gas are eliminated. There's a huge penalty for that. There's equally a huge incentive to do so. The measures that we're taking here is a welcome development, no doubt about that. And we are with the leadership of UAE for the commitment so far. We are consolidating on the gas export usage domestically and export for other countries. I can assure you that we will be partner in progress to achieve renewables. We are committed to energy mix. We are providing cooking gas for a large population. We will continue to do that. We've signed off on reduction of methane. We will leverage on new technology, and we hope the two giant nations and the Emirates will be able to help us through. What I know of Africa is the fact that the risking in additional investment and technological know-how, it is very necessary.
Mr. Kerry, on his part, said there is an urgent need to take action now, and the United States has taken steps to sharply reduce methane in its oil and gas operations.
Earlier today, the United States finalized standards to sharply reduce methane emissions from oil and gas operations. And those efforts will achieve a nearly 80% reduction, and is planning a rulemaking review. We, the United States, are planning a rulemaking review on methane emission standards for landfills. The United States and the European Union launched a global methane pledge 2 years ago in Glasgow, with 100 countries joining. At COP27 in Sharm, we were able to grow the list of endorsements to 150 countries. And I'm pleased today to announce new global methane pledge endorsements from Angola, Kenya, and Romania. And I'm particularly excited that Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan joined yesterday, and Kosovo, President Kosovo is here, joined today. And I look forward to hearing from Kazakhstan in a few minutes. We are working to turn the pledge itself into action.
Meanwhile, the president says Nigeria is taking a significant step towards a sustainable and eco-friendly future by introducing a pioneering initiative to deploy a fleet of 100 electric buses. The president spoke at a high-level meeting with stakeholders and investors on the Nigeria carbon market and electric buses rollout program on the margins of the COP28 Climate Summit. A statement by the president's special advisor on media, Ajuri Ngalale, explains that the strategic initiative is aimed at significantly reducing Nigeria's carbon footprint and modernizing the country's transportation systems. According to the president, this is part of a larger effort to position Nigeria and Africa as a pioneering frontier of green manufacturing and industrialization, with natural gas as a transition fuel alongside other renewable energy sources. While acknowledging the pressing need for a comprehensive global collaboration on climate-related challenges, President Bola Tinubu called on global partners to join hands in accelerating collective efforts towards a net zero future. Staying with the climate conference, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is making a case for long-term financing to address water infrastructure shortage in Lagos State. This was part of the central issues discussed at a cross-sectoral roundtable organized by Business and Philanthropy Climate Forum and Sustainable Market Initiative at the 28th session of the ongoing Conference of Parties COP28 at the Dubai Exhibition Center. Governor Sanwo-Olu pitched a sustainable funding proposal to raise private and philanthropic funding in addressing the water supply challenge. According to him, Lagos, with a population of 22 million, has a daily demand of 700 million gallons of potable water, but the state hardly supplies 210 million gallons. He noted that out of the $1.7 trillion needed globally to address the gap in clean water adequacy, Lagos requires less than 1% of the funds to provide the election since he joined the Labour Party, won its primary election, and submitted his name to the electoral umpire, INEC. The court also held that the PDP and its candidate failed to demonstrate or link their documentary evidence on the issues of bimodal voter accreditation system, or BVAS, to the specific parts of the case. Away from the court, as part of the measures to fast-track the passage of the 2024 appropriation bill, the Senate says it will hold joint sit-ins with the House of Representatives on the budget defense to speed up the process. Chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriation, Senator Adeola Olamilekan, made this known while responding to questions from journalists after a closed-door session with chairmen of Senate standing committees today. He noted that the lawmakers would, if necessary, dedicate weekends to meet the December 31st deadline.
We have discussed extensively so that we can still meet the 31st December, January deadline so that the president can assent the budget. So we have affected the strategy and we are ready to go. There are processes which we have to follow. Agencies will have to appear to defend their budget and they will come back in returns. They will, return the budget to the appropriation committee for us to collate their findings at the committee level. But this time around, what has changed is that we'll be having joint sitting of both the House of Reps and the Senate. Okay. There will be no individual, so it will be a joint sitting between the Senate and the House. Some committees will be operating from the Senate, while some will operate from the House of Reps, so that we can still meet the deadline. Part of the directive given by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is that all ministers at this point should ensure that they're on ground to defend their budgets before the National Assembly. And I know no head of agencies or parastatals will flout that order of the president, and we are working towards that.
In other stories, civil society organizations have been identified as pivotal in advancing social justice and transformative leadership in their various communities. This is the position of the International Organization for Peace Building and Social Justice, a non-governmental organization which is made known at the Maiden National Conference for Peace Building and Social Justice Conference held in Jos, the Plateau State capital.
This conference, conveyed by the Peace Building and Social Justice Organization, is to provide a platform for knowledge sharing, collaboration, and networking among civil society organizations, academics, government representatives, and other stakeholders. In his welcome remarks, the Executive Director, Peace Building and Social Justice Organization, identifies the importance of social justice in the development of the nation.
Our conference theme, titled The Role of Civil Society Organizations in Transformational Leadership and Social Justice, reflect the core values that bind us together in our collective pursuit of a better nation.
The keynote address is delivered by the President of the Archaeological Association of Nigeria, Professor Zachary Gundu.
We are different, but we are not separate from each other. Because we are not separate from each other, what happens to me would affect you. What happens to you will affect me, no matter how you look at it. We just have to understand that all of us are the same.
He explores the opportunities in building alliances and partnerships for effective social justice initiatives.
Even if you don't get out of this place with anything, think about this, and think about the fact that the key to the inequalities we see, the key to some of the challenges we have, lies in the fact that we have decided that other people should think for us. I will say this again. As long as we, Nigerians and Africans, as long as you and I decide that other people should think for us, they will shortchange us.
Board member and Anglican Bishop of Jos Diocese, Most Reverend Benjamin Kwashi, expresses disappointment on what he describes as the absence of social justice in the country. For him, this has affected the quality of leadership in the country.
The point is, we just don't want you to be motivated way away from it. We want you to be motivated and mobilize so that we can organize, because this nation, if there is any reason why we are unable to make a headway, is the lack of getting our civil societies organized into a powerful entity and move.
The Maiden National Conference on Social Justice is specifically targeted on exploring and enhancing the contributions of civil society organizations in the journey towards achieving transformational leadership and social justice in the society.
In part two, after the break, Primate of the Anglican Church, Reverend Henry Ndukuba, urges citizens to remain united and never despair in the face of the current challenges confronting the country. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Nigeria commits to eliminating methane release from oil and gas, plans rollout of 100 electric buses to modernize its transportation systems, the president declares at the ongoing COP28 in Dubai. Court of Appeal sitting in Lagos upholds the victory of Dr. Alex Oti in the March 18th governorship election in Abia State. It dismisses PDP and APC's appeals as lacking in merit. Senate and House of Representatives to hold joint sittings for consideration and defense of the 2024 appropriation bill to speed up the process and beat the December 31st deadline. And Israel's renewed bombardment of Gaza continues for a second day. Residents in the southern part of the Strip has experienced its heaviest bombardment since the start of the war. Never despair in the face of the current challenges confronting the country. Those are the words of the primate of the Anglican Church, Reverend Henry Ndukuba, who is urging Nigerians to remain united. The Anglican primate made the appeal at an event to mark the church annual carnival in Abuja. He says he's optimistic that God will indeed intervene in the affairs of the country and put an end to all the challenges.
In this carnival, we celebrate the faithfulness of God and we raise the voice of supplication and of pleading with the God of heaven that he might intervene in the situations of our lives, of our families, and of this nation. And we are trusting God that Nigeria will rise up again. God will manifest his glory and power. And as it is the days of his power, he will stir the hearts of people to walk with one another, to walk with God. And we pray that God will visit us again and bless Nigeria.
To security matters, about 30 security operatives comprising personnel of the Nigerian Army, Navy, Police, NSCDC, Customs have all concluded a 2-week program to boost their capacity to fight maritime crimes. The program, organized by the Martin Luther Agwai International Leadership and Peacekeeping Center in collaboration with the UNDP and the government of Japan, also had personnel from Ghana, Benin Republic, and Togo. The commandant of the center, Brigadier General Obina Onubogu, says the program is a boost to maritime security through collaborative efforts. Our correspondent, Chrissy Lems, reports.
It's been 2 weeks since these security personnel started a course on anti-piracy at the Martin Luther Agwai International Leadership and Peacekeeping Center. The essence is to build joint capacity in the West African sub-region for future United Nations assignments. And participants have been drawn from the Army, Navy, Police, Customs, NDLEA, Port Authority, as well as from Ghana, Benin, and Togo.
Some might wonder, why would the government of Japan be interested in this? This is because the Gulf of Guinea, and indeed the global commons world over, is one that is of global import, because activities of piracy and other menace and criminalities in the high seas is a threat to all.
This is a testament to the cordial relations and international cooperation that exists between Japan and Nigeria, and it is also in line with one of the strategic objectives of the Chief of Army Staff's command philosophy.
This is the 5th edition of the course and the first time it's happening in a maritime environment. This has provided participants with the requisite platform to build capacity.
According to United Nations Security Council report in 2020, there were about 123 incidents of maritime piracy in the Gulf of Guinea, most of which were related to kidnapping crews for ransom. However, since then, there has been a decline in attacks, with 45 incidents in 2021 and further declines in 2022.
Coastal countries in the West African sub-region rely heavily on commercial activities built around its maritime domain.
And this course has proven to us that there's a need to strengthen collaboration amongst the member states in the Gulf of Guinea. Not only that, but also to put in local laws that will help fight piracy.
It is estimated that over 1,500 fishing vessels, tankers, cargo ships navigate its waters on a daily basis. Our reason, rising maritime threats are being tackled from multiple directions. Chris Alems, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Enugu state government is promising to strengthen the state's relationship with the Nigerian Air Force in the area of security and air transportation. Governor Peter Mbah stated this when he received the chief of the air staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, who was on a courtesy visit to the governor alongside other top military officers. For Governor Mbah, there will be no meaningful development and investment in an unsecured environment. Hence, the need to collaborate with the security agencies.
If we must address the incidences of insecurity, we must deal with the root causes. And dealing with the root causes requires that we address unemployment. And then from addressing unemployment, we can see the connection of how we can get our young people who consider today criminality as a venture. We can get them constructively engaged in other useful activities other than criminalities. So, and that won't happen without addressing insecurity. So what the typical thing is that you cannot have sustainable development without security. Conversely, you cannot have security without sustainable development. So they are both inextricably intertwined. So we need to address them frontally.
Earlier, Air Marshal Abubakar commended the governor for the measures being taken to ensure quality service delivery to the people of the state. He said the Nigerian Air Force is ready to assist the state government in combating insecurity perpetrated by non-state actors.
On our own part, continue to partner with you to do whatever we can, to make sure that particularly this menace of IPOC and other criminalities are actually addressed soon so that the people of the state can have progress and prosperity. I want to also assure Your Excellency, personnel of Nigerian Air Force in Enugu will continue to live peacefully and continue to enjoy cordial relationships with their host communities.
To Health Matters, report says Nigeria currently has 1.63 million persons living with HIV currently receiving antiretroviral treatment. They are calling for less dependence on foreign donors, local manufacture of antiretroviral drugs, health insurance, and proper funding of the healthcare budget for improved HIV response. These are some of the demands of persons living with HIV in the FCT as they join the rest of the world to commemorate the 35th anniversary of the World AIDS Day. Our health correspondent, Victoria Longjohn, reports.
December 1 every year, the world over, celebrates humanity for its capacity to mobilize goodwill and commitment to minimize the economic and psychological burden, and also holds the carnage of death caused by HIV and AIDS by remembering those who paid the ultimate price. This year's commemoration of the World AIDS Day with the theme, Let Communities Lead, marks the pivotal impact of communities in shaping the HIV response and interventions to end the epidemic as a public health threat by the year 2030.
As the country continues to make commendable progress towards achieving epidemic control, which is necessary to end AIDS by 2030, we are also mindful of the fact that ending AIDS comes with huge challenge of sustainability of the control. To overcome this challenge, Government of Nigeria, United States Government, UNAIDS, and the Global Fund initiated alignment program aimed at ensuring country ownership and sustainability of the national response beyond 2030.
35 years on, Nigeria has made commendable progress in the fight against HIV and AIDS, despite still ranking 4th in the world with regards to HIV burden. According to data from the Federal Ministry of Health, there are currently 1.9 million Nigerians living with HIV and 1.63 million receiving antiretroviral treatment. Statistics also show that 58% of the persons living with HIV are female, while 42% are male. Emmanuel Clifford has lived with HIV since 2008. He says there's still room to improve on the gains recorded, particularly in terms of drug availability.
We ask continuously that government should still keep the drugs availability so that the common man who may not have what it takes to fend for himself or herself on the street purchasing the ARV drugs, which is very, very costly if you want to go privately.
Instead of buying ARV drugs annually, we're looking forward towards manufacturing of these drugs locally. Even the strategy of the American government, they have agreed and is part of their plan to support countries to adopt this.
One will think that 35 years down the line, issues of stigma and discrimination will be a thing of the past, but that's not the case.
One would normally think that, okay, in a hospital where they do HIV interventions, they are used to seeing people living with HIV. By now, their perception should have changed, but it did not change. From that survey, it didn't change in many hospitals. Healthcare providers still stigmatize against persons living with HIV in different settings. So it's a global thing, it's a global issue. The churches are not left out. For churches, you're planning to get married. You have spent 3 months doing marital course, and towards the end, you do test HIV screening. Some marriages have packed up. They couldn't continue because HIV was discovered.
I remember there was a time I couldn't gain admission into the university because I was HIV positive and all, and that really broke me.
They also have concerns for the dependency on development partners and make a case for health insurance for persons living with HIV.
The medication is donor funded. The routine the routine checks, viral load, CD4 counts, liver functioning tests, kidney functioning tests, all those things, they are donor dependent. Anyone the donor is not able to provide, the person pays. I see countries less than Nigeria that are not as developed as Nigeria that are doing free medical care for persons living, not just for persons living with HIV, for all their citizens. How are they able to achieve it? How are they able to get there? It's something I expect our government to start thinking about.
The observance of World AIDS Day this year goes beyond a mere calendar event. It is intended to kindle a spirit of dedication, hope, and unity in overcoming the persistent challenges on the path to realizing the objective of eradicating HIV and AIDS by the year 2030. Victoria Longjon for Channels Television News.
Still to come on the news at 10. The National Agricultural Land Development Authority and its partners commenced the harvesting and bagging of rice and maize in Niger, Nasarawa, Benue, and Oyo states. That's on Business News. Please stay with us. Welcome back. No fewer than 100 women and girls experience rape and other gender-based violence on a daily basis in Taraba State, and that is according to reports by the Taraba State Ministry of Justice. The situation has led to a public outcry by women, parents, and guardians in the state calling on the authority to urgently intervene. This formed part of the requests made by women as the Taraba State government marks 16 days of activism against gender-based violence.
Over 100 girls raped on a daily basis in the 16 local government areas of Taraba State. A sad revelation by the State Ministry of Justice as the state marks 16 days of activism in Jalingo, the state capital.
This time serves as a powerful reminder of how
the state governor is represented by his wife, who gives the assurances of the government to tackle the problem.
Gender-based violence has no bounds, affecting people of all ages, backgrounds, and areas of life. It serves as a sharp reminder that the struggle for equality is far from over. Let us amplify our voices, take a collective stand against gender-based violence over the next 16 days. As the wife of the governor of Taraba State, I am sincerely devoted to advancing gender equality and eliminating the prevalent issue of violence that impacts far too many lives in our state and Nigeria as a whole.
Officials from the Taraba State Ministry of Women Affairs, Ministry of Justice, as well as rights activists who in unison condemn rape and other gender-based crimes in the state.
100 girls are being raped on daily basis in all the 16 local governments of the state. How do we get to that? We have reports from the police, we have IPs, we have NGOs, we have religious bodies who actually report these cases to us, and even at the community levels. But why we have those figures, like I said, is because of the reporting system.
According to the State Ministry for Women Affairs and Child Development, violence against women and girls, though a prevalent human rights abuse in the state, is often shrouded in a culture of silence.
We just inaugurated the State Technical Working Group, Monitoring and Evaluation Team, to be monitoring the issue of gender-based violence in Taraba State in September. And from that time to now, we were able to register up to 350 cases in Taraba State alone.
The Taraba State government believes strongly that if victims and vulnerable residents in the state are empowered, the growing trend of sexual assault and other gender-based crimes will greatly reduce.
Thank you, Excellency. A former managing director of Warri and Kaduna refineries, Mr. Babajide Soyode, believes that the PortHarcourt Refinery might not resume production of petrol until March 2024. Mr. Soyode, who was speaking on our Saturday breakfast program, Sunrise, also dismissed the notion that modular refineries would fill the gap in the production of premium motor spirit, PMS.
What people don't understand, mechanical completion or completion of a refinery is different from when you start getting products. Okay. You have to do what we call pre-commissioning. Rehabilitation is like rebuilding the thing. Okay. And after building, you have to commission and then you start it up. That refinery, like you see it, is a bump from the day it was started until it is decommissioned. Yeah. So you need to be extremely careful. Yes. So you check, first of all, that everything they build is correct. You clean it up, all right, with first with air. You clean it up with water. Then you clean it up with air again. You clean it up with nitrogen. Nitrogen. Yes. And then with the products. Not yet. Then you will now put crude in. And so gradually, you are going to raise the temperature, which may take you about a week or two till it is reached a boiling point.
So this is commission?
That is commission.
The refinery, the MD is speaking that it will be delivered before the end of this month. What, in your opinion, will be delivered?
Well, I don't know. If the MD say it will be delivered, that means he has included commissioner and everything in it. If it is not by December, by latest March.
Part of the conversations we've had, for Nigeria to stop importing refined fuel was the licensing of several, I forgot the number of modular refineries that were, you're laughing. we heard stories that okay, once these modular refineries kick in, Nigeria will have more fuel and all those things, but it's been stories down through the ages. What do you make of all of that?
The whole thing is 419. Look, you don't have time. Modular refineries do not produce petrol. They need to add other units to treat and then make petrol. They produce the diesel, they can produce kerosene. Then they produce fuel oil, big one, which is a problem for them. They don't know how to get rid of it.
Here in Lagos, the state government has announced its plan to showcase the state's food potential to both local and international markets during the 2023 Food Festival. State Commissioner for Agriculture, Abisola Olusanya, stated this during a press conference to commemorate the annual event slated for December the 10th at Muri Okunla Park, Victoria Island, Lagos. She explained that the event is to stimulate investors' interest in food business and also create an enabling environment for farmers and small and medium enterprises to blossom in order to boost the state economy.
The festival has other objectives
which is also to showcase the food potentials of Lagos to the local and international markets, to stimulate investors' interest in food business, to develop networking linkages among stakeholders and exchange information on products and services available in the global market. It is given a platform to those in the food business to sell, to network, to popularize their brands. It is a platform for the State Ministry of Agriculture to see more stakeholders come within the space and also to engage. It is a platform also for entertainers to link up with those in the food business, because entertainment and food, they go hand in hand. And it's also an opportunity to just put Lagos on the map. You'd be amazed that when it comes to showcasing the potentials of states, of nations, this is the direction most countries go, which is in exhibiting the potentials within their space. And for Lagos, we're a hotspot for that. We're a cultural bed for all of these things put together, and which is why we'll continue to showcase the food festival in the way and manner in which we have done it.
In Adamawa State, the government is promising livestock farmers of its commitment to peaceful coexistence and food security in the state. The government made this pledge at the two-day enlightenment program for livestock extension workers in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, where the State Commissioner for Livestock Production, Mr. Tijani Maksha, represented the state governor, Umaru Fintiri. According to him, climate change and conflicts between farmers and herders are factors responsible for the poor yield and threat to food security.
Gathered here are 105 animal health workers drawn from across the 21 local government areas of Adamawa State. The event is a World Bank-funded livestock productivity and resilience project aimed at reforming the livestock sector by providing support that will enhance livestock production and ensure food security.
Adamawa State is the first state in the whole of Nigeria that is organizing this trade. So you should know how rare and how privileged you are to be part of this trade. Please, let's use this opportunity to add knowledge, to add content to what we have already.
Governor Umaru Fintiri is represented by the Adamawa State Commissioner for Livestock Production, Mr. Tijani Maksha. He reiterates the commitment of the government to food security.
This is a new program in Nigeria entirely. A program being initiated by the World Bank to make sure that the livestock sector has been reformed entirely. And it is interesting for you to know Adamawa State records out of the 100% of its revenue collection, 40% of that revenue collection comes from livestock subsector.
Government records show that the livestock subsector in Adamawa State produces over 40% of the state's internally generated revenue. The government is optimistic that the 6-year World Bank-funded program will further boost revenue for the state.
Welcome to Business News. The harvesting and bagging of rice and maize by the National Agricultural Land Development Authority and its partners has commenced in Niger, Nasarawa, Benue and Oyo states. The drive, according to the Executive Secretary of NALDA, Mr. Paul Ikone, is to boost the nation's food security. Mr. Ikone adds that the bumper harvest recorded in the crops is a result of its collaboration with private and public institutions across the 6 geopolitical zones.
What you see is the harvesting, bagging and storing of rice and maize in Nasarawa State. The same is going on in parts of Niger, Benue and Oyo states. Few months ago, the National Agricultural Lands Development Authority cultivated the lands using a highly mechanized system, yielding this bumper harvest. This farm in Bauchi is equipped with 4 tractors, 2 maize threshers, planters, boom sprayers, maize harvesters, and a finished grain warehouse, all in a bid to boost food security.
This year, the whole farmland is 500 hectares. Because of the time constraint, we are only able to cover 50 hectares. We planted only 50 hectares because of the time constraint and the nature of the water. Because even after planting, we still had about 15 days without water, rainfall. So with this, we just say, let us just stop planting and concentrate on the 50 hectares we already planted, so that we'll have a very good harvest, instead of going more deeper without achieving our main goal.
In Benue State, harvesting and bagging are ongoing on the Nalda cultivated 150-hectare rice farm in Boku. The plan is to help shore up rice production in the state.
We have a rice farm here of 150 hectares here in the Ambode in Boku local government. We cultivate rice out of 44 worth 150 hectares. Manual farming, of course, is good. It's economical, yes. It's not as expensive as mechanized, but you can do this quantity. You cannot do 150 hectares manually.
This effort is expected to give more boost to the federal government's plan towards food security.
Stanbic IBTC Bank, a subsidiary of Stanbic IBTC Holdings, has been named Bank of the Year by the Banker magazine, a publication of the Financial Times. The recognition took place on November the 30th in London in the 24th Bankers Bank of the Year Awards ceremony, a global prestigious award widely known as the Oscars of the banking industry. The 97-year-old Banker magazine says Stanbic IBTC Bank bagged the award after a rigorous evaluation process covering more than 120 countries for its outstanding achievements in banking excellence, adept navigation of industry challenges, and commitment to providing innovative financial services to clients, underscoring the trust from key stakeholders on the local, regional, and global scenes. The Chief Executive Director of Stanbic IBTC Holdings, Dr. Demola Shogunle, while expressing his gratitude, said, quote, "Receiving the Bank of the Year award from the banker is a tremendous honor and a testament to our unwavering commitment to excellence. This achievement reflects the collective effort of our dedicated team and our strategic initiatives aimed at delivering superior financial performance and addressing the evolving needs of our clients." End quote. On his part, the Chief Executive, Stanbic IBTC Bank, Wale Adeni, shares his insights on the achievement, stating that, and I quote, "This recognition is a validation of our continuous efforts to rise to industry challenges, develop new markets, and extend our financial services to a broader audience. The Bank of the Year award is not only a celebration of our achievements, but also a reminder of our responsibility to lead and innovate in the global banking landscape." Unquote. In addition to the Banker magazine's acknowledgement, global ratings agency Fitch had earlier this year recognized Stanbic IBTC's sound asset quality, solid corporate and investment banking franchise, strong capitalization, and consistent profitability. Stanbic IBTC Bank emergence as the winner in Nigeria showcases the bank's ability to turn challenges into opportunities and then deliver strong financial performance in an ever-evolving business environment. This week, the Nigerian equities market saw an uptick driven by bargain hunting in Seplat and Nestle. The all-share index advanced by 0.27% week on week to close at plus 39.4%. Our trading activity was positive as the total traded volume and value increased by 4.9% week on week and 70.5% week on week. Elsewhere, sectoral performance was mixed following gains in the banking and oil and gas indices and losses in the insurance, industrial goods, and consumer goods indices. Niger Industries topped the gainers chart for the week. That's the second week in a row. And we see Thomas White made that flip to the top gainers chart after trading in the bottom 3 last week. Unfortunately, some stocks have to occupy that space, and Ometech Ventures led that pack of losers. Now, the trio of Universal Insurance, Access Holdings, and Transnational Corporation top trades by volume. Similarly, the NASD unlisted securities market closed positive. The good green stuff appears to be rubbing off on them too. Now, the index rose 0.41% to close at 860 points. Turnover for the week was, however, weak. Volume fell about 69% to 4.22 million units traded, while value dropped by about a similar margin to 41 million naira from 142 million naira it closed with last week. 11 PLC clinched the top spot on the gainers leaderboard, while UBM Property recorded the most losses. And no surprise, the stock was the most traded in terms of volume. Niger will continue to engage with the government of Niger to ensure the release of deposed democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum. This is according to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, who maintains that Nigeria is not under any pressure to act against Niger Republic. Mr. Tugar was speaking to Channels Television on the sidelines of the United Nations Climate Conference in Dubai in the UAE.
We continue to talk with them, to engage, and our doors will continue to be open to those in charge in Niger as of now. And we have made it clear, we've spelled it out. We are asking them to release President Bazoum so that he will be allowed to leave Niger. He will no longer be in custody. He will go to a third country that is mutually agreed, and then we start talking about the removal of sanctions. So let no picture be painted that Nigeria is the one being difficult, or that the ECOWAS, because it was an ECOWAS decision, that ECOWAS is being difficult. No, the opportunity is there. We're always ready, willing, and able to listen to them, and the ball is in their court. Niger, there's no conflict between Nigeria and Niger. The people of Nigeria and Niger, we are brothers. We're not against them, and don't let anybody fool you that Nigeria is being dictated to by some other country what to do. No, that's pure propaganda. Those are lies. Everybody knows Nigeria's track records when it comes to standing for what is right. The fight for freedom in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, in Angola, in Mozambique. We're always there. We remain consistent. You see what we're doing also with regards to Palestine and what is happening in Gaza. This is exactly what we're also saying about the situation in Nigeria.
Right about now, it's time for some sports news, and Victoria Longjohn is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Victoria. Over to you.
Thank you, Ayo. Welcome to Sports News. 10-man Germany beat France on penalties to win the Under-17 World Cup final in Indonesia, becoming the first team to win the World and European age titles in the same year. The match went into extra time when the teams were unable to break a 2-2 deadlock in humid conditions in Surakarta on Java Island. The young Germans then held their nerve in the penalty shootout to beat the Blues and win their first Under-17 World title in a rematch of this year's European Championship final, which they also won on penalties. And in English Premier League, Arsenal beat Wolves 2-1 at the Emirates, courtesy of goals from Bukayo Saka and captain Martin Odegaard. Brentford also defeated Premier League new boys Luton Town 3-1. Elsewhere, newly promoted Burnley thrashed 10-man Sheffield United 5-0. Everton returned to winning ways with a 1-0 victory over Nottingham Forest. And Scotland will play Germany in the opening match of the Euro 2024 after being drawn in the same group as the host. Hungary and Switzerland complete Group A. Spain, Croatia, Italy and Albania are in Group B, while Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia and England will slug it out in Group C. Group D comprises Netherlands, Austria, France, and playoff winner in Group A. Group E has Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, and playoff winner B. The last group, Portugal, Czech Republic, and Turkey, will playoff winner C. And former world number one Rafael Nadal has confirmed he will return at the Brisbane International warm-up event for the Australian Open in January. The 22 Grand Slam champion has not played a competitive match since bowing out in the second round of this year's Australian Open when hampered by a hip flexor problem. Nadal was initially expected to miss just 8 weeks, but underwent surgery on a hip muscle in June.
After 1 year outside of the tour, I think it's the right moment to be back. I have been working hard and feeling much better the last couple of weeks, so I feel ready to announce that I will be back in Brisbane the first week of the season.
And Kevin Durant moved to 10th on the NBA all-time scoring list, but his Phoenix Suns were beaten by the Denver Nuggets. The 35-year-old went into the game needing 17 points to move past Moses Malone and score 30 to give him a career total of 27,423 points. However, it was not enough to stop his side falling to a 119-111 defeat. And that's all sports news. And Victoria LongTerm is back to you, Ayo.
Many thanks, Victoria. The foreign ministers of military-ruled Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have recommended creating a confederation as part of a long-term goal of uniting the West African neighbors. Conclusions reached at the meeting, which held on December the 1st at Bamako, will be submitted to their heads of state, who are due to hold a parley at an unspecified date. Mali and Burkina Faso, ruled by juntas who seized power in coups in 2020 and 2022 respectively, hastened to back Niger's military rulers when they ousted elected President Mohamed Bazoum in July. In September, the three countries signed a defense pact. The renewed bombardment of Gaza by Israel is continuing for a second day, leaving the main road between Khan Yunis and Rafah heavily damaged in the southern Gaza Strip. Residents of Khan Yunis say the southern city has experienced its heaviest bombardment since the start of the war, even as the Israeli military has ordered civilians, especially Palestinians in some areas, to evacuate their homes and head for Rafah on the Egyptian border ahead of imminent strikes. The United Nations has warned that the fighting would worsen the extreme humanitarian emergency in Gaza, as it says scores have been reportedly killed and injured. Meanwhile, 8 trucks have been allowed into Gaza from Egypt for the first time since the ceasefire fell apart on Friday. And the main news again. The president announced today at the ongoing COP28 in Dubai that Nigeria plans to roll out 100 electric buses to reduce the nation's carbon footprint and modernize its transportation systems. This came as he also stated Nigeria's commitment to eliminating oil and gas releases of methane as part of a global plan to tackle climate change. The Court of Appeal sitting in Lagos has upheld the victory of Dr. Alex Otti in the March 18th governorship poll in Abia State. The court dismissed the appeals by the PDP and APC as lacking in merit. And as part of the move to speed up the process and beat the December 31st deadline, the Senate and House of Representatives are to hold a joint sitting for defense of the 2024 appropriation bill. That's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. From all of us here, let's have a good night.